The morning of Sophie's 8th birthday should have been perfect. Sunlight poured through the kitchen windows while Emma carefully spread pink frosting across a tray of cupcakes. Balloons floated near the ceiling, streamers covered the walls, and pop music echoed softly through the house. In the backyard, Daniel hung colorful lights across the fence, while Sophie chased their golden retriever through the grass, laughing so hard she could barely breathe. "Mom," Sophie shouted as she burst through the back door, "do you think Grandma and Grandpa are really coming?" Emma paused for a moment before answering. "They said they would," she replied carefully. Sophie grinned happily and ran back outside, but Daniel looked over from the patio door with concern written all over his face. "You know this is a bad idea," he said quietly. Emma sighed. "I know." Her parents had disappointed her more times than she could count. Growing up, Emma had always felt like the extra child in the family, while her younger sister Lily was treated like the center of the universe. Lily had been beautiful, talented, charming, everything their parents adored. Emma spent most of her childhood standing in the background while her parents celebrated every little thing Lily did. Even after Lily died in a car accident at 19, nothing changed. If anything, it became worse. Her parents turned Lily into something untouchable, almost holy. Family dinners became memorials. Holidays became painful reminders. Emma understood grief, but over the years it stopped feeling like grief and started feeling like obsession. Still, she hoped they could at least behave for Sophie. "She's excited to see them," Emma whispered. Daniel walked over and wrapped his arms around her waist. "And what happens when they hurt her the same way they hurt you?" Emma didn't answer because deep down she feared he might be right. By afternoon, the house buzzed with life. Children ran through sprinklers in the backyard while parents chatted under shaded tables. Sophie wore a sparkly blue dress and a birthday crown she refused to take off. Emma watched her daughter laughing with friends and felt proud. Sophie was kind, confident, funny, everything Emma wished she had been allowed to become as a child. Then a black SUV pulled into the driveway. Emma's stomach tightened instantly. Her parents stepped out carrying a large white bakery box wrapped with silver ribbon. Her mother wore an emotional smile that instantly made Emma nervous. "We brought something special," her mother announced. Daniel muttered under his breath, "That can't be good." Emma forced a polite smile. "You didn't have to bring anything." "Oh, but this is important," her father said proudly. The tone in his voice sent a chill down Emma's spine. Soon everyone gathered around the patio table, where Sophie's birthday cake already sat waiting. It was simple but beautiful, white frosting, rainbow sprinkles, and bright pink letters that read, "Happy 8th birthday, Sophie." Sophie clapped excitedly. "It's so pretty." But Emma's mother gently moved that cake aside. "We thought she deserved something more meaningful," she said. Before Emma could respond, her father opened the bakery box. The entire yard went silent. Inside sat another cake covered in elegant white frosting and pale pink roses. Written across the center in gold letters was a different name. "Happy birthday." Lily Emma felt the air leave her lungs. Daniel stared in disbelief. Several guests exchanged uncomfortable looks. Sophie blinked in confusion. "Who's Lily?" Emma's mother smiled softly and knelt beside her granddaughter. "Lily was your aunt," she explained gently. "Grandma and Grandpa think you should carry her name now." Emma's heart dropped. "What?" she said sharply. Her father straightened proudly. "We think it's time to rename her. Lily Sophie Parker sounds beautiful." Daniel stepped forward immediately. "Absolutely not," but Emma's mother kept talking as if this were completely normal. "Sophie looks so much like Lily did at that age. It feels like fate." Sophie slowly looked up at Emma, her small face full of confusion. "Mom, why does the cake have the wrong name?" That single sentence shattered Emma's heart. She knelt beside her daughter instantly. "Your name is not wrong, sweetheart." Her father frowned impatiently. "Emma, don't create drama over a loving gesture." "A loving gesture?" Daniel snapped. "You're trying to erase her identity." Emma felt years of buried pain rising inside her all at once. Every forgotten birthday, every comparison, every moment spent feeling second place to a ghost, Her mother crossed her arms coldly. "You've always been jealous of Lily." Emma stared at her in disbelief, even now, even today. Sophie suddenly hid behind Emma's arm. "Did I do something bad?" Emma hugged her tightly. "No, baby," she whispered. "You did nothing wrong." Then she stood and looked directly at her parents. "You need to leave." Her mother's expression hardened. "Lily would be ashamed of you." Emma swallowed the lump in her throat and answered quietly, "For the first time in my life, I don't care." After the party ended, the house didn't feel like a celebration anymore. The balloons still floated in the corners, slightly deflated, and the leftover cupcakes sat untouched on the counter. Sophie had gone quiet after crying for a long time, eventually falling asleep on the couch with her birthday crown still tilted on her head. Emma sat beside her, gently brushing her daughter's hair back, trying to steady her breathing. Daniel cleaned up the backyard in silence. No one spoke about the cake anymore, but it hung in the air like something poisonous that couldn't be washed away. Later that night, when the house was finally still, Emma sat alone in the kitchen with a cold cup of tea. Her hands trembled slightly as she replayed every word from her parents. She should carry Lily's name. "You've always been jealous. Lily would be ashamed of you." Those sentences weren't new. They had followed her all her life. Emma leaned back in her chair and closed her eyes. Memories came rushing back. She was 12 again, standing in a school auditorium holding a small trophy for an academic award. She scanned the crowd, searching for her parents. She found them, but they weren't looking at her. They were smiling proudly at Lily, who was sitting 2 rows away for a dance performance she hadn't even started yet. After the ceremony, her mother hugged Lily first. "You were amazing, sweetheart," she said. Emma stood quietly, trophy still in her hand, waiting for her turn. Her mother finally turned to her and smiled faintly. "Oh, good job, Emma." 2 words, then she was gone. Another memory surfaced. Emma was 14, sitting alone at a hospital after breaking her arm during a school accident. She had waited for hours before her father finally arrived. "I was at Lily's recital," he said immediately, as if that explained everything. "Did she fall?" Emma had asked weakly. "No, she was perfect," he replied, not even looking at her arm properly. Emma opened her eyes back in the present kitchen. Her chest felt tight. Even after Lily died, nothing really changed. If anything, it got worse. Her parents turned grief into something permanent, something that filled every room they entered. Lily's photos covered their walls. Her old clothes were preserved like museum pieces. Every conversation somehow circled back to her. Emma had tried for years to accept it, but Sophie changed everything. A soft voice broke her thoughts. "Mom," Emma turned quickly. Sophie stood in the doorway, still half asleep, clutching her stuffed rabbit. "Hey, sweetheart," Emma said softly. "What are you doing up?" Sophie walked over slowly and climbed into her lap. Grandma and Grandpa were being weird. She whispered. Emma held her tighter. "I know. Do they not like me?" That question hit harder than anything else that night. Emma forced her voice to stay steady. "They like you, Sophie. They just don't know how to show love properly." Sophie looked up. "Is it because of Lily?" Emma hesitated. Even saying the name felt heavy now. Lily was important to them, Emma admitted carefully. "But that doesn't mean you did anything wrong, ever." Sophie stayed quiet for a moment. Then she asked, "Why do I have to share my name with someone I don't even know?" Emma felt tears sting her eyes. She kissed her daughter's forehead. "You don't have to share your name. Your name is yours. It belongs to you. No one can take it." Sophie nodded slowly, but her expression stayed uncertain. After she went back to bed, Emma remained sitting in the dark living room long after midnight. Daniel finally joined her, leaning against the doorway. "She's going to remember this," he said quietly. "I know. They crossed a line today." Emma nodded slowly, staring at the silent phone on the table. No apology, no message, nothing, just like always. Daniel stepped closer. "What happens if they try again?" Emma didn't answer immediately, because deep down she already knew the truth. This wasn't a one-time mistake. It was a pattern, and patterns didn't stop on their own. They had to be cut out. Emma looked towards Sophie's bedroom door, thinking about the way her daughter had asked if her name was wrong. Something inside her shifted, quiet but permanent. "I won't let them do this to her again," Emma said finally. Daniel studied her face, even if it means cutting them off. Emma's voice was steady now, especially if it means that. For a few days after the birthday, everything stayed suspiciously quiet. No calls, no messages, no long emotional emails from her mother explaining how misunderstood. Everything had been. It almost felt peaceful, but Emma had lived long enough to know silence from her parents was never truly silence. It was planning. Sophie slowly started returning to her usual self, but something had changed. She asked fewer questions, smiled a little less freely, and often hesitated before saying her own name out loud, as if checking whether it was still safe to own it. That alone kept Emma on edge. Then the packages started arriving. The first one came on a Tuesday morning. A large cardboard box sat on the doorstep with no return address, only a handwritten label. For Lily read, Emma felt her stomach drop before she even opened it. Inside was a customized wooden bedroom sign, Lily's room, princess of the family. Emma stood frozen, holding it in disbelief. Daniel took it from her hands immediately. "They're insane." But it didn't stop there. The next day, another package arrived, school supplies. Notebooks, pencil cases, stickers, all engraved with the name Lily Sophie Parker. Sophie stared at them silently. "I didn't order these," she said quietly. Emma knelt beside her. "I know you didn't." Sophie looked confused, not angry, just lost. "Why do they keep calling me that name?" Emma had no answer she could give a child without breaking something inside her. Then came the final violation. Emma received a call from Sophie's school. The receptionist sounded hesitant. "Mrs. Parker, there was a call from your parents yesterday. They said your daughter is in the process of a legal name change and asked us to update records." Emma went completely still. "What did you just say? They insisted it was approved by family. It is not approved," Emma snapped, her voice shaking. "Do not change anything. Do not speak to them again." When she hung up, her hands were trembling so badly she had to sit down. That evening Emma waited, and for the first time in days her parents finally called. Her mother's voice came through the speaker immediately, calm and confident. "Emma, why are you making this difficult?" Emma didn't waste time. "You contacted my daughter's school." "Yes," her mother said as if it were obvious. "We're trying to help them understand the transition." "There is no transition." Her father's voice joined in now. "You're being emotional. This is about honoring Lily properly." Emma stood up slowly, gripping the phone so tightly her knuckles went white. "You do not get to rename my child." A pause, then her mother sighed like Emma was the problem. "We raised you better than this. Lily was your sister. And Sophie is my daughter," Emma said firmly. "Not a replacement, not a legacy project, a person." Her father scoffed. "You've always been selfish." That word again. Selfish for wanting her own identity. Selfish for breathing outside Lily's shadow. Something inside Emma finally snapped into clarity. "No," she said quietly. "You're done." Silence. "What did you say?" her mother asked sharply. Emma's voice didn't shake this time. "I'm done. You don't contact me. You don't contact my daughter. You don't interfere with her school. You don't send anything. You don't speak her name again." Her mother's tone turned cold instantly. "You will regret cutting your family off over this." Emma looked toward Sophie's room, where her daughter was quietly doing homework, unaware of the emotional war outside her door. "No," Emma said softly, "you will regret what you did to her." Then she ended the call. For a long moment she just stood there staring at the silent phone. Daniel walked in slowly. "Did you do it?" Emma nodded once. "They're going to escalate," he warned. "I know, and you're ready for that." Emma looked toward her daughter again. Something steady had taken root in her chest now, not anger, not fear, but certainty. "I already let them hurt me for years," she said. "They're not getting her too." Outside, another unknown car passed slowly down the street, but Emma didn't move. This time, she wasn't waiting for the next blow. She was ready to end the cycle. The weeks after the cutoff felt strangely quiet at first. No surprise packages on the doorstep, no tense phone calls, no sudden appearances at school events. The silence should have felt like peace, but for Emma, it felt more like standing in the aftermath of a storm, waiting to see what had survived. Sophie noticed the difference too. One evening, while sitting cross-legged on the living room floor coloring a picture of their family, she looked up and asked softly, "Are Grandma and Grandpa mad at me?" Emma's hand paused over a stack of laundry. "No," she said gently, sitting beside her. "They're not mad at you." "Then why don't they come any more?" Emma hesitated. This was the part she had feared most, the questions that didn't have simple answers. "They made some choices," Emma said carefully. "Choices that weren't okay, and we had to take space to keep you safe." Sophie studied her drawing. "Am I still Sophie?" The question broke something open in Emma's chest again, just like it had at the birthday. She pulled her daughter into her arms immediately. "You are Sophie. You've always been Sophie. No one can change that." Sophie leaned into her. "I like my name. I do too," Emma whispered. And for the first time in weeks, Sophie smiled without hesitation. Life slowly rebuilt itself in quieter ways. Daniel became more protective, making sure no unknown contact slipped through. Emma began therapy, something she had avoided for years, finally speaking out loud about childhood memories she had buried too deep for too long. For the first time, someone actually listened to her without comparing her pain to someone else's memory. And little by little, she began to understand something painful but freeing. She had never been competing with a living sister. She had been competing with a ghost. Then, one late afternoon, a knock came at the door. Emma froze when she opened it. Her father stood there alone. No dramatic entrance, no confident tone. Just an older man holding his hands together like he didn't know what to do with them anymore. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Finally, he said quietly, "Can I come in?" Emma didn't move aside. "I don't think that's a good idea." He nodded slowly, as if he expected that answer. "Your mother won't come. She thinks you've turned your back on us completely." Emma let out a slow breath. "I did." Her father looked down. "We thought we were keeping Lily alive," he said. "But we lost you in the process." Emma didn't respond right away. Something in her chest tightened, not anger this time, but exhaustion. "You didn't lose me," she said finally. "You stopped seeing me." Silence stretched between them. He swallowed hard. "We didn't know how to stop loving her without feeling like we were betraying her." Emma's voice softened, but only slightly. "Grief doesn't mean you erase the living." That sentence hung in the air. Her father's eyes glistened, but he didn't argue. After a moment, he nodded once. "I understand why you did it, cutting us off." Emma looked at him carefully. There was no demand in his voice now, no manipulation, just tired regret. Still, something inside her stayed firm. "I didn't do it to punish you," she said. "I did it to protect her." He glanced toward the living room where Sophie's laughter echoed faintly as she watched cartoons with Daniel. "She looks happy," he said quietly. "She is." Emma replied. Another pause, then he stepped back from the door. "I'm sorry," he said simply. Emma didn't chase him. She didn't soften the boundary she had built, but she also didn't carry the old weight she used to carry. "I hope you understand someday," she said. "I think I already do," he replied before turning away. And then he left. That night, Sophie's 9th birthday came quietly. No chaos, no conflict, no shadows over the cake. Just friends, laughter, and a simple homemade celebration in their backyard. Sophie blew out her candles with both hands pressed together, eyes squeezed shut, wishing for something only a child would wish for. When she opened her eyes, Emma was watching her. "Did you make a wish?" Emma asked. Sophie grinned. "Yes, what was it?" Sophie leaned closer and whispered, "That we always stay happy like this." Emma smiled, and not the forced kind she used to wear, but something real and steady. As Sophie ran off to play, Emma looked at Daniel, then at the glowing Sophie, written proudly on the cake. And for the first time, she understood what revenge had truly been. Not anger, not punishment, but freedom. freedom from a name that was never hers to carry.